Alright, this one's for Jono. He's a regular student and a patron. He's been looking at Northside Gal. So we've seen a lot of double stops in this solo, so I figured I'd make a video about double stops using Northside Gal as a case study, if you will. This is Ivy, she's going to help us. When you're watching the studio session video, JD is using his thumb and finger instead of a pick, but I've also seen him play with a pick in other situations, so you can do what you want pretty much. In the studio video you can see he's playing a D up here, so I'm just going to grab a power chord here on the 10th fret, and then you can just kind of tickle it like that with your thumb and finger, or use your pick, whatever. There's a few live sessions where he's down picking. Might be a bit of palm mute in there, and an occasional little slide up there. So we've got the D there for a while, then we go to a G, power chord again, 3rd fret, back to D, then 5th fret, that's an A, back to D. That's your progression. So yeah, double stops. What's a double stop? So a double stop is basically you playing 2 strings at once. That's all it is. And you see it a lot in rockabilly. Blues, rock and roll. In this solo, like I said, there's 3 kind of different techniques we've got here. The first one is this nice little slide up and down we've got. By the way, I'm going to do another video later and I'm going to talk about how to use these techniques in your own stuff. That'll be in the Patreon. We've got 2 shapes here really. I'm going to call this like a step one because we've got a little step shape. So I'm going to start on the 14th fret of the G string and my ring finger is going to go there. Middle finger is going to go on the 13th fret of the B string. So I've got that little shape there. We're essentially going to be moving that up and down. And there's one more shape. It's just we're playing both the same frets. So I'm going to call that a bar, like a mini bar or something, on the 12 frets here on the G and B strings. So we're just playing the G and B strings, and we're going to be moving around that first step shape, and we're going to be using the bar shape back to the step. So it's like we've got a little scale going on there. Like I said, we start on the 13th and 14th frets, and we're going to move it up 2 frets, back down, then to the 12 frets, then we're going to play that step shape on 10 and 11, and it's going to come back to 8 and 9. When he's playing this in the video, he's doing kind of upstrokes with his finger. So there's a couple of things to think about here. There's a slide movement going on. So you're hitting it once, then sliding up to the next shape. Then we're hitting it 3 times and coming back down with a slide. And that's going to be the pattern that you use throughout this. So we're going back and forth between those 2 twice. Then when we get here again, we're going to slide down to the 12th fret bar here. Now, for me, the way I think of this, the easiest way for me to do it is to keep that ring finger on the G string. And it's kind of stuck on there, it's like it's glued onto a railway track or something. And then what's happening is your middle finger's playing when you're doing the step shape. But when we're doing the bar, I'm going to bring in the little finger there. It just makes sense to me. Your little finger just naturally falls there when it needs to. And then when we go back to the next shape, we're going to go back to the middle finger on the B string. And then finally, so all together we should have. And then when we get down to that last shape there on the 8th and 9th frets, we slide back up to the shape before. So I've tabbed all that out, it's going to be in my Patreon, links for that will be below. You might be able to work it out from this video anyway. And there's your first double stop trick. The next thing that we've seen happening, all of that by the way, that was all over the D chord. That was all over the D chord. Then when we move down to the G, we've got this little lick. So we're going to start off with your little mini bar on the 3rd fret of the E and B strings here. And then we're going to add your ring finger onto the 5th fret of the B string. The top E is also going to keep ringing out throughout this. So there's a bit of back and forth, and then we're going to bend that 5th fret. And it's just a small bend, it's kind of a semitone. And then we're going to go back and forth some more. So again, that's all tabbed out, but have a listen. So it's all around that little shape there. And the next chord, we go to a D, back to the D again, and we're just going to move that trick, move it from G to D. So we've got a D up here, again on the 10th frets, and your ring finger is going to go onto the 12th on the B string, give it that little bend, there's back and forth. That's cool, that's your second double stop trick in this solo. And there's one more. The last chord that we move to is the A. Now this involves a little major pentatonic run, starting on the A. So we're going to start on the 5th fret on the low E string. He's moving to his thumb here in the video. So 5th fret, then we're going to slide from 7th to 9th, then 7th on the A string, 9th on the A string, then we start the double stops again. We're going to go 7th and 9th on the D and G strings, and then to finish it we're going to do a double stop on the 9th frets of the G and D string, and do, it's just a semitone bend, but we go in up and down and up and down. It's a bit of a Chuck Berry trick, and it kind of decays quite quickly, and he does a final tap towards the end of that, something like that. And then there you go, that's your third double stop trick. So it's that Chuck Berry. And then finally, when it goes back to the D, I'm hearing the 10th frets on the E and B strings. So there you go, that's a solo to the JD McPherson's Northside Gal. I'll have the tabs in my Patreon below. I'm also going to do a bonus video on my Patreon. I'm going to talk about how we can use those tricks in our own solos. I'm going to steal them and use them for ourselves. Thanks for watching, see you later.